All right, today we're going to be talking about dashboards. And stop. Can you name one metric you just saw? That's not you not paying attention. That is a problem with each and every one of those dashboards. A useful dashboard doesn't just display information. It leaves the user knowing what matters and what to do next. So let's try that again. Okay, I'm guessing that went a lot better. You might have a move score, maybe a streak, a readiness score. So what do these mobile dashboards do with 1/6 the amount of space that actually gives you a takeaway and a next action? Let's break it down. My name's Chris, and I've been building software over 10 years, and I have experience from startups to top companies like Microsoft, Meta, and Starbucks. I also run sciencebasedsoftware.com, where we take the trust me bro out of app building and give you evidence-based principles that you can rely on, and then the copy-paste prompts to add it to your app. So if you think that's valuable, join the newsletter below. Go ahead and subscribe. We do this all the time. Let's get back to it. Most teams use a dashboard as a way to display as much data as possible. All the numbers, all the metrics, all at a glance. This is not the purpose of a dashboard. The purpose of a dashboard is to change your user's next action and give them the information they need to do so. And once you understand that, most of what those dashboards show, all of those cards, they become so easy to delete. Your dashboard has one scarce resource, and it is not space. It is your user's attention. Today, I'll show you how to protect that attention using 5 evidence-backed dashboard principles. And then I'm going to take you through a dashboard that looks polished, but follows every current trend and completely fails a user. We're going to rebuild that with something that is using product science and evidence-based strategies until every element answers a single question. What should the user do next? Now, to implement an effective dashboard, we will need 5 things. We'll need some space, next action, surface insights, time horizon, and then to really nail user feedback. We'll then apply all of this to an actual app, or we'll fix all the most common mistakes that I see. Space. So many companies and users that I work with feel like all of their information is important. That just isn't the case. If everything is important, nothing is. You just saw that less is more with mobile apps. You had actual takeaways, next actions in just a second. That is what we want from some of our users. Mobile apps have 6 times less space compared to desktop, but you walked away with an actual metric and next step. If that is what we are indexing for, then what we have on desktop is actually 6 times more space to help the user meet their goal. So let's reframe the space question. Once we get through these next couple of items, you will see that you won't need to cram stuff in if you have a strategic goal for each of these. If you take anything away from this video, let it be this. Organized numbers are not your end goal. Action is. So make it clear and get the next best action in front of users. People go to school for years to become a data scientist. Yet a lot of dashboards assume everyone who looks at it is a data wizard who lives in Excel and can calculate outcomes and spot trends on the fly. You are leaving over 80% of your value of your dashboard on the table if all you do is provide a canvas for some companies' Excel spreadsheets. We need to surface insights. And I do this by asking 2 questions. What does this number mean to the user? How does it change the user's actions? If you can't answer these clearly, then it doesn't go on the screen. We have to put in a little work on our end to present the user with something that's meaningful. And that will elicit that next action. That will service that insight that they need to get out of this piece. Insights are what allows the user to do something about what they see. Otherwise, you're just at best numerical art, a really pretty UX example that someone can put on their portfolio. But you're not actually gaining business value unless you turn those numbers into actions, timelines, and time horizons. Mobile apps don't have a lot of space, so they only service today's actions or this week's progress. But when you look at a desktop app with all that extra space, I will see a month roll up, a year, a 5-year plan. What could a user even do on a year-long timeline right now? What kind of actions do not necessitate a space on a daily dashboard? That sounds a lot more like deep research or maybe an executive briefing that you're not going to use all that often. So why is it taking up space in our main dashboard? Once again, we can take a lot from mobile and looking at what we can do right now, and also just take it out a little to a weekly trend to give them a little more context. Now, the data for this says focus on timely and actionable data, but that can go too far one way. Most users do not need minute-by-minute data. This goes back to surfacing insights, not just displaying numbers. If you are constantly updating a user every 5 minutes with the newest number, you're probably not giving them anything that's actionable and likely just causing them more stress in the long run. The data shows that the most effective cadence for most teams is data that shows the day's action and a weekly trend roll up. Feedback, what you're tracking in your data, matters a lot too. When studied, 38% made performance worse. Now, how do they pull that one off? Research showed two findings. They focused on the person instead of the task, and they gave feedback too frequently. So let's break that down. One study that can help us look at this came from a classroom where students were split up into three groups. One of them was just giving comments or feedback on their performance. The next was given comments and a grade, and the last group was just given a grade. So the first with comments, that one improved the overall feeling of the student and they performed better next time. Next was comments with the grades. When that grade is present, it completely overtook the comments, and that student did not make a significant change on the next attempts. And it got even worse when you just give someone a grade. They were not able to improve, and some of them did worse the following attempts. So we can apply this to our dashboards by ensuring we always focus on feedback that allows them to create better next time versus shaming an action that they did this time. And this is a little nuanced, so I'm going to go through an example at the end in this finance app. We're going to show you before and after to really solidify this concept. The study also showed that frequency of feedback mattered as well. There was a negative effect when there was very frequent use of feedback. So people are going to treat constant feedback like noise and ignore the whole thing and not get any benefit out of it. Best practice is to have an objective weekly roll-up with a trend analysis. And you're going to see this be common throughout a lot of the studies that I'll show. Weekly trend analyses are one of the top ways to elicit an action while giving enough context information for the user to create a good next action. Here's a bonus one that is so easy to implement and has been shown to increase retention. Just adding the person's name to the dashboard. Using someone's name triggers a powerful neurological response, making you feel uniquely seen, valued, and more engaged in the conversation. It really grabs your attention. Using someone's name in software has a dulled effect when compared to conversation, but there's still data showing that it increases trust and retention. Like this dashboard was made for them, the experience of your dashboard. In a world of uniform cards and numbers going everywhere, how can you create an experience with your dashboard? You don't need to be a grid. You can stand out by laser focusing on what your user needs and presenting it to them in a novel way. Now, everyone's going to tell you to go to Mobbin, Behance, or Dribble for this. Feel free to go to Mobbin, the link below. However, if everyone's doing that, then you're not going to have a novel experience. So I'm going to tell you something different. Dashboards are just outcomes of data visualization. So instead of trying to copy what's trending on some of those sites, let's go look at some different data visualizations. One of my favorite sites, and if you haven't seen this before, it is going to blow you away, is a site called pudding.cool. And you can go on there, you'll waste an entire afternoon, but you will have a really fun way, I guarantee it, of looking at some of your data, or at least getting the ideas flowing for what data can actually look like beyond just an organized grid or an Excel spreadsheet. So go ahead and jump in there. I think you're going to love it. Now we're going to jump into the before and after and really apply some of these principles. So I'm going to go to my website, sciencebasedsoftware.com, and I'm going to go down to the topics and we're going to look at dashboards. And you can see these have different screens that were audited. I went through and looked at all the top dashboards in mobile and desktop. So that's why all of them are here. I think they're super useful. Go ahead and check them out yourself. Each of them comes with a ready to paste prompt that you can just copy and throw into your code editor. And that will help you kind of apply a lot of these principles as well. So you can listen to me talk, but you can also go and do that. I think it'd be good for you to know why though. So let's go ahead and jump in. Okay, so this is a lot of what we talked about in the video in article form you'll be able to see, but we want to skip down to this interactive build and show you full screen. Okay, so this is a financial app called Penny. And what you're going to see here is we're going to go through first the before, and then we're going to make some changes, and I'm going to tell you why we made those changes. So starting out on the left, we already start out in the red. The very first thing is a shame tactic telling me that I am over budget and even giving me this little emoji, but like, yikes, like, can't believe you did that. Good luck. So that, of course, is not a good way to start out the user. I don't want to open this app. I feel bad. I probably won't reach for it again. And then we look down and we just see all of these numbers with no real hierarchy, no real way of distinguishing what's important, what's not. I don't really know why some of these are here. Like I have a balance, but I have in and out. And how does that all look to my daily average and my budget left? Like, what am I supposed to do with this? The answer is I'll probably do nothing. I'll look at this, get a little confused, and leave. Then we go down to this live ticker here, which is going through perhaps all of my purchases as they're happening. But how am I going to make a change if I'm getting this constant feedback and not being told, like, one of those was rent? Are you telling me I shouldn't be doing that? One of those was, my doctor bill. Like, I have to pay those, but also it's next to like Starbucks and maybe I didn't have to go. Like, what are you trying to tell me here? It's confusing because you're just giving me data and you're not putting it in a way for me to understand it better. Then we have the same thing here. No real hierarchy, just a few different buckets. Are they on track? Are they below? What are they doing here? Just the numbers at this point. And then this looks nice. This looks like the one we should do. A nice toast animation saying, amazing, you've done this. Research is showing that these kind of just take up space. They don't actually give the user too good of a feeling. And it would be better for us to shift into something about why we're telling them this is good. And we want them to log expenses because, and I'll show you in the next one. Then we have vacation fund. It's looking pretty low, 4%. Not feeling like we're doing very well. And maybe I'm not as motivated since it's like in red, it looks so low. Maybe I'm not going to continue in that same, like building that habit of saving, especially after I just jumped in and saw this. I feel like this is one of the most egregious parts besides all the hierarchy issues. Anyways, we're going to fix it now. So we're going to go over to the right into the new and improved penny, where we're going to see, just like in our mobile apps, we have a metric up top. That is what we need to know. This is the one thing, if I looked at this, this would be great to know. I have $42 that is safe to spend today. Then that weekly trend that we keep talking about, that is helpful for the users to know overall, that I am spending 118 less than last week. Weekly trends can help me change my behaviors. When I see that daily ticker over there, I'm not doing anything about that. And then that next user action we talked about as well, we were just hitting them, huh? So that next user action, dining is over $63, which is what we saw up here. But I can't do anything about this one. For this one, I'm gonna move 50 over from my fun budget that I have, which makes sense. You're over budget, you should take away from the things that are extra. Let's go ahead and move that over now. Like, that makes sense. That should be my next action. Let's do it. All right, then we have these 3 days logged. And this kind of gets to that streak idea, which streaks from Duolingo with the crazy owl mascot that will hunt you down on Twitter, or Snapchat. Snapchat has had an amazing job at streaks, or Apple Fitness with closing your rings. All of these have done an amazing job getting streaks mainstream, but they don't belong in everything, especially things when it comes to hobbies or leisurely activities. They don't perform really well. They're actually shown to decrease the enjoyment, and overall retention completely drops in a lot of these apps. If you are trying to put a streak or basically count the number of times someone does something that they enjoy. So this will be things like reading. There was a coloring study that people colored significantly less after they were tracked and then able to do it for fun on their own. There was the Fitbit study that went through and showed at 100 days we still had a good amount of users, but after 300 something days, a lot of those users completely vanished. But we don't want to always put streaks on everything. Streaks work really well when it is a work-related topic. So I said they don't work for hobbies and leisure. When it already feels like work, that is when you should put it in. A financial app comes pretty close to feeling like work already, but we're trying to get them to enjoy doing their finances. So trying to show a streak and making it a big deal for them is going to eventually lead for us to have a retention drop. All right, weekly trends. This is another piece that we talked about. All of this information isn't helpful. We have so many different numbers here. What's important? This week I have spent $486. It looks like this throughout the week. Then we go down to this vacation fund at 4% here. I don't really feel like I'm doing too great of a job. I have this for 2 different types of users. One is for the new user. So if I have a new user here, I want to show their progress so far, and that encourages them to continue. So we've saved this so far. We have this little dial going. Great job. If it was lower, I'd show lower too. Like, it's okay if you've saved 20 so far, like, great job type of thing. But if we have a user that has been in and out of this app often, we want to maybe show them you have 380 to go. So a goal-based type of number would be really helpful for them, because this person is used to looking at their finances. They're not as afraid of their finances. We can show them a bit more of a goal, and this goal-based behavior has been shown. If you're not worried about retention and scaring someone off, goal-based and oriented behavior can be good for some of your more committed users. You can apply this to web-based, to desktop, B2B, everything. We want to have this main number. We want to have our next best action. We don't want to give them minute by minute information. We want to roll up to a weekly, and then we want to make sure that everything kind of has room to breathe. We have a semi-unique experience here. All right, so if you enjoyed this and learned something, I put out content like this all the time. Go ahead and join my newsletter below and hit subscribe. Our dashboard newsletter issue just went out, so you're going to miss that. So go ahead and sign up so you don't miss the next one. All right. And thank you so much for spending your time with me today. I hope you learned something, and I will catch you on the next one.